Hello everyone, welcome to episode 13 of Flashback Royal Rumble. This time around, as a 2-for-1 special, I decided to do 2 Royal Rumbles at a time in order to move things along quicker, since the Royal Rumble is coming up this Sunday. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and kick this off. We'll start off with the 2000 Royal Rumble. Overall, this was a great show. I really enjoyed it. There was a couple of moments I didn't really care for, but that's neither here nor there. The show kicked off with Taz's debut in the WWF by defeating Kurt Angle, and who also turned out to be Kurt Angle's mystery opponent. Since this was in New York, which was Taz's old stomping grounds, of course Taz got a humongous pop when he made his debut. It seemed though that Taz was getting some kind of a monster push. Possibly the same kind of push he got in ECW, I don't know. But that push kind of fizzled off, and within the coming weeks, because a couple of weeks after the Royal Rumble, 4 guys named Chris Benoit, Dean Malenko, Eddie Guerrero, and Perry Saturn, or the Radicals, would make their debut in the WWF and make a huge splash into the WWF name. Which was great for those guys, but not so great for Taz, as we all know where he ended up. Anyway, then there was the tables match between the Dudleys and the Hardys. This was a very great matchup, and of course the memorable moment where Jeff gives the Swanton Bomb on Devon off of that platform, whatever it's called, the balcony it's called, was a great moment, and it was definitely a great matchup for both teams. Then there was the 2000 Miss Royal Rumble swimsuit competition, which I honestly didn't really see anything special about it. I mean, women flying in bikinis, I'm sure all the guys like that. Of course, what I didn't care for was Mae Young entering into the competition and started stripping off her bathing suit. Yeah, that was not good at all, people. That was not good at all. So we'll just say that the whole Mae Young stuff ruined it, and move on. Then there was the Intercontinental Championship match in the Triple Threat between Chris Jericho, Chyna, and Hardcore Holly. Overall, it was a great matchup. I like Jericho being put over, being an Intercontinental Champion, and I have to say, Chyna's version of the Wall to Jericho was not good at all. I could have done without. Then we had the WWF Tag Team Championship match between the New Age Outlaws and the Acolytes. This one was very short, thus made it disappointing. It was only like 3 minutes, possibly less. It was less than 3 minutes. But I mean, there was no story to it whatsoever, and I don't think there was that much hype about it. So, to me, it was a big dud. Then we move on to the street fight between Cactus Jack and Triple H for the WWF title. This turned out to be an instant classic in my opinion. Again, just like the I Quit match for the WWF title back in the 1999 Royal Rumble a year prior, the violence level definitely was there. I think there was more violence in this one than the I Quit match, but I'll leave that up to you to decide. The use of the barbed wire 2x4 and the use of the thumbtacks definitely brought it out there, and the spot where Cactus Jack gets pedigreed onto the thumbtacks definitely added to that match. Overall, both men gave it their all, and it turned out to be a great matchup, and is definitely a must-see if you're a wrestling fan. And then the main event to 2000 Royal Rumble, the 2000 Royal Rumble match. I like this one. It had comedy. It had a lot of stars in it. The intrigue was there. The finish, where The Rock ends up getting his foot touched, but he's the one who ends up winning the match, which sets up the Big Show and The Rock. It seemed like they wanted the Big Show. They wanted the Big Show there, but they didn't want to lose The Rock's momentum, so it ended up being a triple threat match, which ended up being a fatal 4-way match, but that's either here or there. And I also didn't see the point of the Main Street Posse and Kaientai being involved. I mean, to me that's one of the things I could have done without also, but it happened, and I digress. But overall, the 2000 Royal Rumble was a great show, and I'll just leave it at that. And now we move on to the 2001 Royal Rumble event. Overall, the 2001 Royal Rumble event was a great show. I really enjoyed it. To me, it's a recommendable show. The Tag Team Championship match that kicked off the show between the Dudleys and Edge and Christian, with the Dudleys going over, becoming the new champions, was a great matchup. I believe the Dudleys going over was a very good move. I believe as if I thought they were ready to take that next step. Then there was the Intercontinental Championship match between Chris Benoit and Chris Jericho in a ladder match. Was definitely a classic. It was definitely an example of how a ladder match should be worked. Chris Jericho going over, becoming the new champion, was a feel-good moment, and it was full of great stuff. And I definitely recommend a true wrestling fan, to see it. The Women's Championship match between Ivory and Chyna was kind of a dud, in my opinion. The handspring elbow Chyna did into Ivory, which caused her to collapse, which caused her to be hospitalized again, was obviously a work, and because of the fact that it was a work, that's what made it disappointing. The WWF Championship match between Kurt Angle and Triple H was alright. It was a pretty good matchup. The only thing that took something away from it was the altercation between Trish and Stephanie. I could have done without that. And the Vince coming in trying to break it up, I mean, that kind of took away something from the match, but overall it was a good matchup. Then there was the main event the main event being the 2001 Royal Rumble match. That one was really good. I mean, definitely a star-studded matchup. The star of the 2001 Royal Rumble, of course, was Kane, as he entered, I believe, at number 6, and he ended up lasting all the way to the end until Austin eliminated him. And then, of course, there was the infamous Drew Carey appearance in this one. To me, it was alright. I know a lot of people bash on that moment, but if you think about it, it wasn't really that bad. I mean, Drew Carey didn't really do much, and he wasn't even there that long. If he was there longer than he was, then I can see how it would have been horrible. But for what it wasn't that bad at all. Austin ended up winning, eliminating Kane. Again, overall, it was a great matchup, and overall, the 2001 Royal Rumble event was a great show. I definitely recommend you seeing it. Well, anyway, that'll do it for this episode of Flashback Royal Rumble. You can leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. You can follow me on Twitter at JJMWWE89. And until we meet again, take care, y'all.